Hello everyone. In this guide I'm going to be going over how to edit data sets, which allows us to do things like edit what loot spawners spawn and what traders can sell. So to begin, I'm just going to show you a mod that I've been working on my own time. I think it's just a good example of what we're going to be doing today. So let's start with traders. Say you want to replace what the trader sells. Well, first you're going to replace the trader blueprint and then make your own data sets. So if we open up the trader blueprint here, this references all the data sets that the trader is going to sell. And if we go to datasets folder here are my own custom datasets that I made. Now you can see that I've removed reputation limit from ammo, all the weapons have their own custom prices, that sort of stuff. And this is really easy to set up, so let's start. Let's say I want to replace the items that the medical trader sells. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is go into the content folder, blueprints, trade, and then you're going to go over here to TL Trader Survival. I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it. Then I'm going to go back to my mod folder and paste it in. And I'm going to rename it by hitting F2, BBP for Bakery Balance Patch, so that I know this is my custom blueprint. Next, we need to grab our dataset. So I'm going to open the blueprint, and here are all the datasets that we need to grab. So to find them, you can just hit the spyglass here. It'll highlight it, hit Control-C, and throw it in your mod folder. And just like we did with the blueprint, rename it so that you know it is yours. I'm going to do this with every single data table on this list, and I'm going to put it in my datasets folder. Alright, now that I've copied everything into my datasets folder, I'm going to go back to my custom trader blueprint, and I'm going to replace these default datasets with my custom ones. And because I gave them my own custom name, it's easy to tell which is which. And I'm just going to go down this list and replace each and every one. Each of these data tables serve a different purpose, so trader other sell is what the trader is going to sell to you. Trader tools buy are the tools that the trader will buy from you. So let's say we wanted to change the price of bandages. Well, all we would need to do is locate the recovery data table, go ahead and open it. Now this is pretty simple overall. The row is named typically. If it isn't, you can expand the item class and see what the actual item class name is. Here you have count, so that's the amount that's sold whenever you purchase it, how much it's sold for, the reputation price, and the reputation requirement. For reputation price, that isn't really used for items that the trader sells, that's for items you sell to the trader. So scrap has a reputation price of 1, set in a separate data table that you can find. Actually, let's grab it real quick. It is this data table. So, going back here, we want to change the price of bandages. Let's say we want to cut the price in half. All you have to do is left click on it, down here price, type 1000, hit enter, save, and then you're done. Go ahead and compile and save, and now the last thing we need to do is tell the game to load this specific version of the trader. So we're going to do that by going into mod registry, and there's going to be a lot there, ignore it. All we care about is down here, and we're going to use this node, static data set trade list, and this is going to tell the game to set which list for which trader. I'm just going to copy and paste it again, drag the execution line here, and instead of weapons, we're replacing the survival trader with our own custom version of the survival trader. And that's it. Compile, save, and now we can load it up in game. And there you go. Bandages are now 1000 instead of 2. Alright, next let's cover loot spawners and how to work with them. First, I'm going to go back over to the content folder, go to blueprints and loot spawners, just to show you what we're working with here. So we have loot spawners and loot boxes. Loot boxes are physical items that players can see. Loot spawners are invisible items that spawn items sometimes. So let's open loot spawners. Here we have a whole bunch of different stuff. Let's work with everybody's favorite though, and that's going to be the epic sniper spawn. I'm going to go ahead and drag it into the level to show you what we're working with here. This is a debug box that doesn't appear in game. When I hit G, it disappears, but it acts as a visual indicator of where it's placed in your level. So let's say we wanted to edit this. I'm going to go ahead and open this blueprint, expand the static data here, item set, and this is the item set that the loot spawner is using. So I'm going to browse to that, and we are going to want to copy this item set into our mod folder. So I'm going to go back to my mod folder, go ahead and paste it in there. And don't forget to rename it so that you know that it's yours. Next, we're going to open this up. And just like the trader, we have a data table. So let's grab that data table, copy it, and put it back into our mod. rename it so that we know it's ours. And in my case, I'm just going to drag that into my dataset folder. So going back into the blueprint of the item spawner, this is our custom blueprint, so we want our custom data table. We don't want to just use the default one. So now I'm going to replace it with my custom version of the epic sniper spawn. Going to compile and save. Next, let's edit that custom sniper data table by opening it. In this case, you don't have row names, so just expand the item field here, and then you can see the names at the very end of the directory. We have min and max count of the amount of items spawn. You can set custom skin IDs. You have min and max durability. Chance weight is going to determine the chance that the item spawns. And as you can see, the 417 and SVD are set at 20. The 50 cal is set at 1. So it's much more likely that you're going to get an SVD or 416. But let's say, hey, I don't even really want the 50 cal to spawn at these anymore. Well, you can just click on it, hit remove, and you're done. And just like we did in the other data table, you can change all the parameters down here. So maybe you want it to always spawn with decent durability. You can change those stats. Go ahead and save. Just for fun in this guide, I've removed everything and replaced it with a FMOS spawn, just to make it obvious that we've actually done it when we go to test it in game. Next, we need to go back to our spawner blueprint, and we're going to hit fill from table, because right now the spawner blueprint is still spawning the same items here. You can see SVD, M99, 417. But if you hit fill from table, now it's going to be everything you had in your table with those stats. So go ahead and hit compile and save. The last thing we need to do is go back to our mod registry here, and we need to tell our mod to use that custom version of that spawner. So I'm going to drag off the line here, and we're going to search data set item, and we're going to grab static data set item set. We're going to select the class of the dataset we want to replace, so snipe epic. Now next we're going to grab something a little different. Dragging off of this blue node here, we're going to search for make SFPS item set, and we're going to get make SFPS item set struct. So this is similar to setting the trade list, except loot spawners have spawn chance, and that's what we can specify here. We can specify our chance and the amount of times it can roll. For item set, we're going to grab our custom version of the epic sniper spawner, this one right here. And we're good to go. Just hit compile and save. Okay, let's go ahead and test it in game. Now obviously it's not always going to spawn loot, so we can use the command /SL, which stands for spawn loot. And it will force all loot spawners in our area to spawn, and you can see now we have a SOM instead of a 417 or a VSD. Now, editing loot boxes is a bit more complicated compared to editing loot spawners, because loot boxes don't just pull from one single item spawning pool, they pull from an array of different pools, right? Because you open the box and you get a whole bunch of different items in the inventory. So that means modding these boxes are a little bit more difficult, but I think we can get it done. Now first we need to find which blueprints are associated with the loot box spawner so that we know which ones to replace. So an easy way to do that is to right click it, go into the reference viewer, and here it will show anything that references our loot box spawner. Now there are 4 different types of burners in the game. I think we just want to edit the radar one, so I'm going to double click on that. This will take us to our radar reference viewer. Here you can see it references the World Zero loot. And just over here we have all the different item pools that it's pulling from. These are the things that we want to replace. So for example, let's say we wanted to make loot box spawners always spawn like 3 different scopes. We would want to replace the scope spawn pool. So I'm going to right click it, browse to asset, copy it, go back to my project files, paste it, and rename it so that I know it's mine. Now let's open this. And this is just like the loot spawner we took a look at a minute ago. So it'll be pretty easy to work with. Now next we can find the data table here. So we can make a custom version of this. We're going to copy it, go back to our Modkit, paste it, rename it. And just for fun, let's have it only spawn hammer scopes, because that's balanced, right? Going back to our spawner, we're going to replace it with the custom version. Now when I replaced it, it already automatically filled from the table, but if not, go ahead and click, compile, save. So go back to your mod registry. We're going to make a few more nodes here. So I'm going to drag off the execution line, and we're going to type in set items to spawn. We're going to use static data set items to spawn. Here we're going to set the spawner we're replacing, which is going to be the radar burner. And here, this is going to require an array. So drag off of this, and we're going to hit make array. And this array is going to be the list of pools that we're going to choose from. So we're going to grab this again. So go ahead and copy and paste. Obviously, we're using a different spawner this time. We're using scopes. So set that there. Then we have the chance, the amount of rolls, and we're going to drag that into our array. As it's set up right now, this means the radar burn open box is only going to spawn scopes. If we wanted to add more stuff in, you can hit add a pin, make another one of these, drag it right in, and that's how you create multiple spawn pools for one item spawner. But for this guide, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And we want 3 scopes to spawn, so I'm going to change min to 3 and max to 3, and it's going to have a 100% chance to always spawn 3 scopes. Because this is only the hammer, this should every time spawn 3 hammers from our radar burn open box. So I'm going to compile and save, and let's test it out. Now before we begin, we do need to actually place a loot spawner on top of this loot box, because this is just a physical model. All of our loot spawners look like this. So we're going to find the burner radar loot spawner, and place it onto our loot box model. Align it correctly. Alright, so let's test this out. We are getting a nav mesh warning in the top left, but that can be fixed easily by rebuilding it. We do need to spawn in this loot spawner. If I try to open it now, it'll just be empty. So I'm going to hit SL again. There we can see our FAMAS. And let's pop this guy open to see if we did everything correctly. And there we go. 3 hammer sites. So, I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.